Hello, good evening. This is your Lola Amalia once again. And I would like to share with you tonight a very beautiful story, a very, very touching story about a passenger in an airplane and 10 soldiers. This story has no title, but I decided to give it the title 10 Soldiers and a Couple of Meals. And and a couple of meals. And this story, I first read it in 2018. Then I saved it in my iPad. Unfortunately, I lost the charger of this iPad of mine. And for 3 years, I was not able to open it. Mabuti na lang hindi pa pala nasira. And so when I got a charger which fits into this iPad, I was able to open it. And then I read this story once again. And I thought of sharing this with you because it is so touching, it is beautiful. From my point of view, from how I every time I read it, I felt some kind of sadness, some kind of, my heart, no? Trying to break into pieces. Parang kinukurot yung aking puso tuwing mababasa ko ito. And actually, this story brought me to the realization or the thought of the many soldiers that are who are leaving their own country, and perhaps like for example American soldiers who were being sent to troubled countries like Afghanistan, Vietnam, then Iraq, and many other areas of the world, and our own soldiers who are fighting for the who are fighting for the defense of our country also. And I thought of them, the suffering that I had to undergo, the physical, the emotional, the mental suffering, a hardship that I had to undergo because they have to be away from their loved ones, and they are not even sure if they would be able to return to them and be able to be with them again and be able to touch, to kiss, or even to hug them. So I am thinking of all these things whenever I read this particular story. And let me read this story to you. I put my carry-on on the luggage compartment and sat down in my assigned seat. It was going to be a long flight. I'm glad I have a good book to read. Perhaps I will get a short nap too, I thought. Just before takeoff, a line of soldiers came down the aisle and filled all the vacant seats, totally surrounding me. I decided to start a conversation. "Where are you headed?" I asked the soldier seated nearest to me. "Petawawa," replied the soldier. "We'll be there for 2 weeks for special training, and then we are being deployed to Afghanistan." After flying for about an hour, an announcement was made that sack lunches were available for $5. It would be several hours before we reached the east, and I quickly decided a lunch would help pass the time. As I reached for my wallet, I overheard a soldier ask his buddy if he planned to buy lunch. "No, that seems like a lot of money for just a sack lunch. Probably wouldn't be worth $5. I'll wait till we get to base." His friend agreed. I looked around at the other soldiers. None were buying a lunch. I walked to the back of the plane and handed the flight attendant a $50 bill. "Take a lunch to all those soldiers," I told the flight attendant. The flight attendant grabbed my arms and squeezed them tightly. Her eyes were wet with tears. She thanked me and said, "My son was a soldier in Iraq. It's almost like You're doing it for him. Picking up 10 sacks, he headed up the aisle to where the soldiers were seated. She stopped at my seat and asked, "Which do you prepare? Chicken or beef?" "Chicken," I replied, wondering why she asked. She turned and went to the front of the plane, returning a minute later with a dinner plate from first class. "This is your thanks." After we finished eating, I went again to the back of the plane, heading for the restroom. A man stopped me. "I saw what you did. I want to be part of it. Here, take this." He handed me $25. Soon after I returned to my seat, I saw the flight captain coming down the aisle, looking at the aisle numbers as he walked. I hoped he was not looking for me, but notice he was looking at the numbers only on my side of the plane. When he got to my row, he stopped. He smiled, held out his hand, and said, "I want to shake your hands." Quickly unfastening my seatbelt, I stood and took the captain's hand. With a booming voice, he said, "I was a soldier and I was a military pilot. Once someone bought me a lunch. It was an act of kindness I never forgot." I was embarrassed when applause was heard from all of the passengers. Later, I walked to the front of the plane so I could stretch my legs. A man who was seated about 6 rows in front of me reached out his hand, wanting to shake me. He left another $25 in my palm. When we landed, I gathered my belongings and started to the plane. Waiting just inside the airplane door was a man who stopped me, put something in my shirt pocket, turned and walked away without saying a word. Another $25. Upon entering the terminal, I saw the soldiers gathering for their trip to the base. I walked over to them and handed them $75. "It will take you some time to reach the base. It will be about time for a sandwich. God bless you." 10 young men left that flight, feeling the love and respect of their fellow travelers. As I walked briskly to my car, I whispered a prayer for their safe return. These soldiers were giving their all for our country. I could only give them a couple of meals. It seems so little. After all, these were courageous souls who are writing a blank check made payable to their country for any amount up to and including my life. What a beautiful story, really. What a touching story. And what a generous soul this man narrating this story is. And this story of 10 soldiers and a couple of meals really moved me. Because it only shows that every corner of the world, there is someone with a generous soul ready to share to those who do not have so much in life. And this story might also bring us to the realization of the plight of our own soldiers here in our own country, who are ready to be away from their loved ones, not knowing whether they will be able to see them again. The soldiers, our own soldiers, are ready to give up their lives so that our country can be defended from terrorists, from lawless elements, from insurgents. And we can only thank them and offer them our prayers. So, if we chance upon a soldier, we can at least give him something because he is serving the country and he is serving us, his countrymen. Good night to all of you. Take care, stay safe, and be careful still. Observe our protocol, health protocol, because the unseen enemy has not departed yet totally from our world. Again, God bless all of you, and my tight embrace and kisses, warm kisses for all of you, my subscribers. Again, this is your Lola Amalia, and please, requesting that you subscribe to my channel, Just Me, Amalia. Thank you. Good night. Bye-bye.